Hi, welcome back to another development diary for Samson at Tyndalston Story. Today we'll be looking at the city design and vehicle design. My name is Piotr Kopst, I'm a concept artist at Liquid Swords, and I'll be taking you through the city. So one of the toughest challenges in designing the city as an artist was finding the balance between the gameplay and the visuals in the city, because we're at the same time trying to make a city that you subconsciously can understand as a consumer, that you've experienced on the day-to-day life, but at the same time we want to make an engaging game.
Enjoy the nap.
We had multiple strategies to achieve that, one of which was to make sure that the metrics that we were using were established early on, that we set them in stone, that we wouldn't end up changing them later down the line. So the metrics essentially are the measurements of various pieces. So the doorway has to have a specific height, a hallway has to have a specific width. If you do everything very realistic, you can have very narrow corridors which can cause a lot of problems for either the camera which is following, or if you're supposed to have a fight there, when you shove characters, then things will start clipping into walls, everything will just start falling apart. We were heavily inspired by northeastern American cities from the 90s, so New York, Philadelphia. We had a lot of photos from the era which were amazing, which had a lot of character, which really set the tone for the project. But then also we had 3 art direction pillars that really kept on going back to, and we used to filter through all the photos and the references and to inspire and to amplify the work. And those were statement, violence, and parasiticism. Statement was all about big, bold splashes, essentially having a big mural on a wall about the city. Then we had violence, which was the representation of how the city was violent, how everything had a story, that there was a person, there was a fight, things were cracked, nothing was really pristine or new. And lastly, with parasitic is the term we had for the sort of greed and the corruption in the city, that the difference in wealth inequality, just exploring those sort of themes of injustice. So I think the most exciting thing for players to find in the game is just all the nooks and crannies that we've put in a lot of love and attention into. There's a lot of areas where maybe we don't have any specific gameplay that pulls you there, but they're interesting to explore regardless. So I'm really looking forward to when people will be able to go there.
My name is Damian Księżypolski, and I'm a vehicle artist here at Liquid Swords. So when we started the project, we had to look at cars that were pretty common in like the 90s, but we had to take a look at what cars were active 10, maybe 15 years ago. And we had to take inspirations from those kind of eras to make that fit into both the narrative and the aesthetics of the city. We can take a lot of inspirations from existing cars, but the cars in their design is mostly ours now. And we had quite a lot of liberty when it came to that. Because if we were working on real brands, we wouldn't have any type of freedom. There's a lot of challenge that comes with the freedom, because you need to stay true to what people have seen or can relate to when they look at these cars. They can't look at a car and go like, oh, that looks weird. But we want them to look at the cars and go like, oh, I kind of recognize that. The one car that actually went through a very dramatic transformation was Samson's car. We had settled at first at a standard 4-door sedan. It felt too everyday, your average Joe who just sat in his car driving to work. And that did not fit him as a person at all. And eventually we were like, I think it's time for us to do a proper car for Samson. There was no hassle working with that car. Everything was pretty straightforward, but it worked. We got it in and it just looks so differently from all of the other cars. It has attitude. It's definitely the magnum opus.
I own these streets.
All cars deform differently, especially throughout the ages. All we knew was that we kind of wanted a little bit of mayhem, and we wanted these brutal takedowns. We wanted you to have the car as a tool. And that was a lot of work between me and our VFX guy, Oscar. He was the one that uplifted the whole thing, that made it so much more impactful. So when you smash a car, they start to tumble, they go full James Bond mode. When we got that first big roll and they flew into a pillar, that's when we knew that we got it. Thank you for watching. If you want to keep up to date or discuss what you've seen, join our Discord or follow us on social media.